Here we're going to take a look at angle measures and bisectors. And the question is, how is measuring an angle similar to and different from measuring a line segment? So the first thing we need to get started is an angle. So we're just going to simply put an angle onto the piece of paper. Now I want to label this angle so that I can talk about it. And I'm going to say, here's a point A, B is at the vertex, and C. So this can be said to be angle B, or it could be said to be angle ABC, or we might even say CBA. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the angle addition postulate. That's what we want to be able to look at first, the angle addition postulate. What I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to be able to transfer that angle to another spot. Now there's a few ways we can transfer this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tracing paper as my first method. And all I'm simply going to do is place the tracing paper over top of my angle. And I'm going to trace it. Many people don't know how to actually use tracing paper, so this will be interesting for us. I'm going to mark my 3 points, A, B, and C. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my paper over and I'm going to dirty the back side. When I dirty the back side, what I'm doing is I'm loading it up with the pencil, the graphite. I can now place it down in another spot and I can trace it. When I trace it, and I do this with kind of a heavy hand, I'm pushing the dirty side down onto the paper. And I get the faintest little image of it here, and I don't think it really shows up on camera, but I can trace it over. And what I've got is I've copied the angle into a new place. And that's a very useful technique to do this quickly. A way to do it more technically would be with a straight edge and a compass. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to transfer that angle with a straight edge and compass. And I want you to see that these methods both work. So I'm going to place a ray with an endpoint B. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my compass and I'm going to simply make an arc on my original angle. So I put down an arc and I'm going to place the same arc at point B. Now using my compass to measure from the intersection of the arc and the lower ray to the intersection of the arc and the upper ray, I now have a measurement along the arc of a circle. So I'm going to transfer that measurement to the arc of the circle up here. And I see it's in the same spot. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to go ahead and connect those points, my endpoint to my intersection, and I have now transferred my angle. So I put down my point A and my point B. So it's very useful to have a number of methods for transferring an angle. And we can do this in a couple of different ways. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to cut this angle in half. Well, if I'm using the paper method, I simply fold the paper in half so that B is on my fold and A and C lines overlap. And when they overlap and I connect that, I get a fold in the paper that is halfway on the angle. So I can bisect that angle with paper. I might need to be able to do this with a compass, so I've already got my compass still set from before. I'm going to place the point on the arc of the circle's intersection with my BC line, and I mismarked it here as a B, so I'll change that to C. I'm going to place it at the intersection on the BC and the arc, and I'm going to draw an arc out inside my angle. I'm going to do the same thing at my AB ray and the intersection of my first arc. Those two, that intersection connected with B cuts this angle in half. So we're constructing an angle bisector on paper. And let's call that point D. So angle ABD is equal to angle BDC. And now what I want to do is I want to add ABD to angle ABC, the angle addition postulate. So a couple of ways we can accomplish this. I can transfer it using my paper, lining up my fold with the BC line and B over B, and I could trace this line with a heavy hand. If I trace it with a heavy hand, I get my new point, and I would be able to put it down. I know you can't see that on the camera this way. What instead I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this the same way I transferred my first angle. I'm going to make an arc the length of BD. Or I'm going to make that arc BD and extend it below my angle. Now that it's below my angle from the intersection on BC of that arc, I'm going to use the compass for the measurement of to D on that same arc. And I'm going to draw an arc all the way down, and I'm going to find this point down here where my new arc intersects that second arc. That point is my angle added on. So this is half of my original angle added to my new angle. I'm going to call the point at the end of that E. This means that angle ABE is equal to angle ABC plus angle CBE. I've added this small half angle onto the end of the entire thing. So we're able to now cut angles in half. We're able to transfer angles. We're able to add angles to angles.